gather around. I have a story to tell. The title of this video, Why eBay Hates High Volume Storage Auction Resellers. Some of you have probably never ever experienced certain things, and this is not a knock or I hate you or I'm belittling you. Your volume is just not high enough to run into these problems, which it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. But I recently saw a video and I was just listening to these people go on and on and on, and I'll put the link to the video below because I don't remember the name and I don't want to screw it all up. But they were going through it with eBay, and it brought back some painful memories, because the reason I put the heartbeat at the beginning of the video is when you get that email from eBay talking about they want to talk to you, I guarantee you, if you do not answer quick enough, they're going to limit your account. I mean, you're like, what? I have no juice. I have no power. What the hell happened? They are notorious for that stuff. And watching what's happened to other people, I finally figured it out. You know, just based on my experience and conversations with many customer service reps, some who didn't know what the hell they were talking about. eBay is all about avoiding risk if they can. So what they're going to do is put everything on you. And typically, because you know, that's the reason I said high volume sellers, because you know, because there's going to be someone watching the video. I've been selling on eBay since 1996 and I ain't never had a problem. I don't know what Lyndon talking about. He must have did something wrong. He must have did something wrong. Not the case. The deal is, when you get to 4, 5, 6, 7, 800, 900 transactions completed, not the shit that you listed. Anybody can list 1,000 items. That don't mean you're selling anything. But when you start to get into that range, a lot of stuff starts to happen. Number one, you get more people who are just not, I don't know what the heck that was. They're just not happy with you. They're just not happy. And I remember this case of this woman who bought a saddle, and she said all this nasty stuff, and she sent email after email, and then she filed a PayPal claim. And at this point, I had been beaten up enough. That morning, I was just like, you know what? You're going to send that saddle back. Sure, we'll give you all your money back, but you send that saddle back. Because she was kind of angling at, you know, serious discount, or let me keep the saddle. And I was just like, are you on crack or what? Well, long story short, I went into PayPal, and you have to go in your dashboard, but when you get a dispute, you have an option, like, you know, to solve, go ahead and say, like, if they send it back, bam. You know, and that escalates the claim to where they have to send it back, and it kind of ties their hands, because if you don't do that, they can escalate it, and eBay or PayPal, same people to me, decide in their favor, you're screwed. I've known this happened to me. People have escalated a claim, got the stuff, kept it, and didn't have to send it back. So once that happened, I was like, okay. So go in and escalate it. And I did this to the saddle person, and she was pissed. I mean, I got all kinds of nasty emails, which I promptly sent to eBay and got her ass booted off. Because, you know, they can't threaten you like that. And she eventually, her hands were tied. She sent back the saddle, which she said had all these issues. The box was never open. But typically, you know, to get to the core issue of this, when you become a high volume eBay seller, you cross across so many categories. Because the thing is, if you're ever talking to eBay and they're like, hey, we like you, you know, your category, or you're doing this, or you're changing this, or you're doing that. And it just hit me, because they like for you to be in the category, because if you're in the category, you're predictable. You're easier to track, and that's their business model. It's their business. It's their business model. If you're on that platform, those are the rules. You got to deal with it. And when you buy a lot of units, and every month your stuff is changing, so you truly don't have a category. I actually figured out a way to kind of get around that. Because if you bought the book, you know, so I always talk about multiple eBay IDs. If you are a storage auction reseller, you're going to need at a minimum 4 to 6 IDs. Because you can put, because you know, I did a lot of stupid stuff. I put everything on one ID. First time I got the limited email, and It's just like, what the hell did I do? I'm just a dude. I'm trying to make money, right? And you have to separate your stuff. Like, there's certain things you're going to frequently get. So you can put those on certain IDs. And let me tell you, don't change up. Every time you change up your category on eBay, it resets your risk level. No one's going to tell you that, right? You're just like, yeah, I'm listing, I'm making money. Booyah! What the hell? I'm limited. What the hell did I do? I mean, seriously, you start looking around like, is there two of me? Did I really do something? I mean, it's just that obscene. So, keep your stuff on your eBay channel ID. Just keep it consistent. You build credibility and trust with eBay and PayPal. Now, I'm not going to get into how to have multiple PayPal accounts here, but there's a legal way to do it. And I talk about it in my course. But do that, and it limits your risk of being limited and booted off. Because, I'll give you an example. 1 week, I was selling auto parts when I got the Mopar unit. Then the next week, I was selling dolls on the same ID. I didn't get limited, but I got a phone call. And it started to piss me off because I'm like, damn, eBay calling me, and they hadn't even taken me out to dinner. What's up? So that's the deal. Be real careful with your IDs. Be real careful with your PayPal account. And also, this is something else. If you're a serious seller, you're going to need 2 to 3 internet service providers. I know that sounds crazy, right? But you're going to need them, because it got to the point where before I outsourced everything, there was a dedicated computer, an ISP for each selling channel on eBay. Each one. Because anytime you did something or you lost, it was so many things that could get you in trouble that you don't even know about. It's like walking in a dark room full of bear traps, and everywhere you step, it's snap. You snapping some shit up. Your legs bleeding, your knees severed, your arms out. And that was the thing why I don't really mess around with eBay anymore, because I'm scarred. I'll admit it. I got issues. I will buy on eBay, but as for selling, I'll stay out here and work it out, and do my own marketing, because it's just, for many, many years, because I've listed 100 items in a day by myself. And if you're an eBay seller, when you have to take the pictures, do the descriptions, upload all that stuff, double check. I've done that. It's a freaking long ass day. And the people who are ardent, who are real serious eBayers, they work their ass off, in my opinion, for pennies. Because when you factor out, because it ain't just like, it's like, it's just part-time. There's a lot of eBayers, they're working 80, 90, 100 hours a week. Seriously, 100 hours a week. When you factor in the listing, the sourcing, the shipping, the going to the post office, the pack, it's a long week. And it's a lot. Like I said, I'm scarred, man. I need therapy. I need to talk to someone, an eBay counselor, someone to sit me on the couch and ease my mind. But definitely keep your stuff on individual channels. Don't ever mix it up. Don't ever mix it up. Don't do it. One time I got stupid and I put a whole bunch of collectibles on a channel or eBay ID that was just strictly for vintage stuff. And bam, woke up the next morning, the auctions were gone. I'm just like, but see, that's another reason you have to have like Ink Frog or whatever is a listing platform, because when that stuff happens, you've got it in there, you can just hit a few buttons and bam, relist it. But it's going to cost you money. Know that. So that's kind of the takes. Like, so if you're a high volume storage auction reseller selling a bunch of different items, and understand there are going to be people like, I sell new stuff and I sell all kinds of stuff. No. See, this stuff is pre-owned. And with pre-owned, there's a higher risk, because a long time ago, I actually talked to a customer service rep at eBay who was an American, not trying to insult any foreigners. And he really broke it down for me, because we talked for an hour and a half. Apparently, this guy was a supervisor, and he just apparently answered the phone when I called, and we worked it out, and he just told me. He said, well, every time you put on new items on the ID and your history is of X, Y, and Z, it's just more risky for us. And that's what he said. And no one ever told me that shit before. And that was maybe 2 months before I outsourced everything because it's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't deal with it. It's too much with, going to the auctions and all this other stuff out there. But definitely. And that's why I hate, high volume. Like, if you're just kind of plucking around and, I'm going to give you some metrics here. If you're selling less than 100 items a month, selling, not listing, but actually selling completed transactions, you probably are not going to run into a lot of problems. But when you boot up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or if this happens to you, if you go from 100 items sold in a week to the next week selling 300, expect a phone call. They may not shut you down, but expect a phone call. And they're going to like, hey, we noticed that I'm like, isn't that the freaking point? To sell more, to make more money? Because I used to get so frustrated. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. We're a sales organization. We're trying to grow the business. And in my book, eBay Getting into Black, and that whole experience is the reason I wrote that book, is eBay, in my opinion, wants you to stay at a certain level because in terms of profitability and risk, it benefits them and they don't have to worry about you. I think, they would rather have a whole bunch of well-known corporate resellers or a certain level of pre-owned small sellers that pretty much doesn't buck the trend, because every time I turn around, I got a nice unit, I got nice stuff. I was inadvertently bucking the trend. I was messing with algorithms. I was messing with risk management protocols. I didn't know. And I was just getting beat upside the head. And I'm just like, hey, I'm just a little storage auction guy. Why the hell is everybody hitting on me? And it's really, really frustrating that when you're working your ass off and you don't know all the rules. See, that's the thing, because they'll tell you, go read that encyclopedia of eBay rules, and they'll say it's all in there. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. It's like when you go get your business license, and they tell you that, this counter must meet ADA specifications, and you have to go back here and see the civil engineer so he can look at your print. Next thing you know, you spend $250. And you went to the website and you read everything and you thought, hey, my business license is only going to cost me $130. Next thing you know, it's more money. That's how the thing works with eBay. Because some of the stuff that happened to me, it wasn't up in the rules. It may be in the rules now, but it wasn't in the rules then. Because that whole thing about, somewhere in plain English, you should say every time you switch your categories, that you're going to increase your risk and we're going to look at you a little bit more closely. If it was that simple and plain down, I think a lot of things would be avoided. And the deal with PayPal. Okay, that was a whole nother animal. Because it got to the point where we weren't really running into problems with eBay. We're running problems with PayPal because, eBay stuff would be selling, no auctions, because, I got that all straightened out. Then, go to PayPal, bam, your account's limited. What the hell? You get a phone call from PayPal, make sure you return that call as soon as you can. I'm telling you, you don't have long. Minutes to maybe an hour, and they're going to limit your stuff. And when they limit your stuff, and this is another reason that as a storage auction reseller, when you're sourcing all your products from pre-owned sources, because they're going to ask you, we need to see invoices. But the thing is, you got the stuff out of a storage unit, so you don't have invoices. You got your bill of sale, and that's not going to fly with them. They're like, you can hey, I bought it at a storage auction. They're like, you're going to get some bean counter that's going to the protocol says we need to see invoices, we need to see this, we need this. And if you don't have it, they're going to leave your shit locked up. And since I don't mess with either one of them, I'll tell you what I did to get out of a jam once. Because I spent no lie, 8 hours on the phone with PayPal one day. 8 freaking hours between calling, getting hung up on, calling back. And that night, I just said, fuck it. When the warehouse, I created some freaking invoices, like maybe 50 of them. I just made up shit to do this. Shit it to them. Bam! My account became unfrozen. I had to do what I had to do because there was no way I could get invoices. And I hated being in that position because it's like, the people's stuff was shipped. They had their stuff. People were leaving positive feedback. And I had to go through all of these trials of Hades. Had to go kill a goat. Take the wings from a dragon. Get the toenails of a winged serpent to appease freaking PayPal. I mean, it was frustrating. That week, I was so mentally wore out. It was just like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is because I feel that we're on the transition. we've reached a watershed moment. I think there's a whole bunch of people that are going to get out, they're going to stay out, and there's some new people that are going to come in and they're going to jump out, because I've talked to several people and they say the same thing. They go to auctions, it's always new faces, and then next month they don't see them again. So we're getting to that point where a lot of this fuckery is about to even out. Maybe another year or so. I don't think it's going to be like just like that, but maybe another year and a half. And for those who have built established sales channels, have built real businesses, you're going to benefit from that because it takes some time. But just a few tips on how to protect yourself with freaking eBay and PayPal. And these by no means are guaranteed, because anything can happen. Anything can happen, because I just, I'm like, it's like I'm back 9 years ago, and I'm just like reliving that, because when you go to auctions all day and you're loading stuff, you get up at 5:30 in the morning, and here it is 8 o'clock, and you think you about to transfer 6, 7, 8 grand, and your shit's froze. It pisses you off. I mean, seriously, you just like, and that's why, some people are like, oh, get over it. And like I said, I'll never, ever put myself in a situation where PayPal can hold that kind of money. And I have a PayPal account that's open. Yeah, there ain't nothing going on in that bitch. There ain't nothing going on in there. I just can't bring myself to do it. I can't. It's just like, forget it. I've been burned too many times by them. I mean, I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but when you've got somebody holding that, a lot of your loot, and you've done nothing wrong, it's just enough to make you want to kill somebody. I mean, seriously, you just want to like go get some plastic explosives and go. I mean, seriously, I know that's crazy talk, but one night at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was just like, man. Then I calmed down and did what they asked for, and worked it through the system. And then there was 2 times it took a long time for me to get my money, a long time. So, just from the top, if you are selling certain items, make sure you stay consistent with those items on those selling IDs. If you have to get used computers to make sure that, whatever computer that you use to access your eBay account, make sure it's consistent. Make sure it's consistent. And be careful, because if you use a used computer of someone who got kicked off eBay or PayPal, and when they do their little search, because this is how they find you. They find you by your MAC address, ISP, information entered. There's so many. If any one of those things pop up on their security measures, you're gonna get shut down. There's a lot of people who use someone else's computer that was about to be shut down, and their stuff got shut down. I think it is horribly unfair, because their policy is, okay, now that we got these bodies, let's do the autopsies and see was this a valid kill, which is jacked up to me. But that's a little overview. That's something to think about, because as a storage auction person, eBay's a necessary evil. I mean, you're going to get more coin for certain things on eBay than you are anywhere else. I mean, it's just the reality of it. And I just look at it as like dancing with the devil, because, once I just elevated my thinking and found some people who were in love with eBay, and like when you outsource your eBay stuff, you got to find people who love eBay, who live eBay, who've got their power seller certificate up on their wall. Those are the people you want listing your stuff, because they're going to do it right. They take pride in their work, and they have a lot of passion. And I found a bunch of them, and we all made a lot of money. And then, just moved on, because I'm doing different stuff. But hopefully you glean some information from this, because I just went back down memory lane. Man, that was not a good trip. I want my money back. Seriously, I want my money back. All right, this is Glendon, making money with storage unit auctions.